in... Oh, keeping themselves alive. I don't want to say through, but if Abe Corrigan loses this match, he's out of the tournament, for sure. So, away we do go. Abe Corrigan has a breeding pool. Dominic Harvey with a stomping ground. Again, one of the unique things about the Players' Championship is that as long as you are in the tournament, you can win the tournament. There are no draws here, no nonsense. If you're in, you can win, and that's how I like every Magic tournament to be.
Both these players can come all the way back, but it's going to involve a lot of winning in a row.
We'll play a Misty Rainforest. There's a Mox Opal, and he'll just pass the turn back. So it does have the ability right now, as long as my brain's working, to play Metallic Rebuke. So here is a Farseek. That's going to resolve. So Harvey going to figure out what land he does want to get. Harvey, a player who has had an unbelievable run over the course of 2019. Hit the ground running, got second place in the very first Open of the year, alongside his teammate Tariq Patel in that Team Modern Open in Columbus, Ohio. Then won the Open the very next weekend with his take on Amulet Titan, and solidified himself as an SCG Tour mainstay. You throw in a Team Open win with Jeremy Bertarioni and Jonathan Hobbs in Pittsburgh, and a solo Modern Open win with Tron during Hogak Summer. This kid's made a name for himself in a very meaningful way.
Yeah, Dom Harvey's 2019 season through the Opens among the best in history.
For Abe Corrigan, it hasn't been a bad season either. Trust me, that Open in Columbus that Dom Harvey got second place in, he lost to Abe Corrigan's team. They won it. And Abe was able to solidify his seat to the Players' Championship very early on in 2019. Season 1 point champion. Also won a Grand Prix the same weekend as Mythic Championship 6 in Richmond. Beat Reed Duke in the finals, which is really hard to do.
Not many can say that.
Yeah. He'll come in here for 3.
It's a modest opening here from Corrigan.
Well, it's not the quickest of starts. That's for sure. A turn 3 Oko and given beatdowns with a Mox Opal.
This has got to be one of the weaker matchups in the format for Oko.
I would think so.
In general, the food is useful. The Titanship deck does deal a finite amount of damage, and often it's just barely 20.
Mm-hmm.
So gaining some life is not bad, but it's not like you're really playing anything to the battlefield. It's a slow clock. So I guess if you're annoyed by Oko, consider playing Titan Shift.
I don't think that's a bad idea, trust me. And I do think many are annoyed by Oko. Now, how good is Titan Shift in other matchups? Well, that's tough to say, as there's a Kalani Heart Expedition. But if you are trying to metagame in a small field like this, which is what Dominic Harvey tried to do, well, he's 1-1 thus far in pod play. There's a Cinderglade that enters the battlefield untapped. And look, he cut Anger of the Gods, Lightning Bolt, anything resembling red interaction. Because there's no meaningful way with Lightning Bolts and red damage to interact with Oko. You're not going to get the job done there.
Right. Now, did we watch Dom Harvey get absolutely trucked by humans?
Absolutely did.
We did.
Absolutely
yes, that did happen.
Yep.
It's not like there's no cost, but this is the type of matchup he's gunning for here. It is very popular in the field, so it's not a bad metagame call. It just isn't free.
Drake Sasser beat the crap out of him.
It was not close.
No.
Any point.
Now the Heart Expedition is up to 3 counters, which is the flashpoint to sacrifice that and get 2 basics and put them onto the battlefield. No Valakut on the battlefield to start the nonsense, but it looks like you may have a copy of Valakut in hand. I'll tell you what, when you're at an open deckless tournament, I don't know if you've played in one since they've made that change.
Invitational top 8.
Okay.
Or like some top 8s.
Yeah, sure. So when you're in an open deckless tournament and you're humans and you see your opponents playing this version of Titan Shift, you just
right.
It's everything's funny. You can kill none of my creatures? After sideboard, you only have really Anger of the Gods? Sure. But on the contrary, when you're Abe Corrigan, you see what your opponent's up to, and you go, "Oh no, they were gunning just for me." Well, it looks like Dom is thinking about sacrificing the Coney Hard Expedition right now. Looks like Corrigan may have missed his land drop. Remember, this is a deck that does play copies of Metallic Rebuke, so the Hard Expedition will be sacrificed. Snow-covered forest and basic forest. Looking to set up different land types in case he does draw himself towards Field of the Dead.
Yeah, Field of the Dead alongside Our Promise Now Dimension this deck has as well.
Mm-hmm. Before Field of the Dead was banned from Pioneer, that was a combo that you saw in Mono Green Ramp. Uh-oh. There's a Primeval Titan. Is it time for maybe one of those main deck Veil Summers? Yeah, it sure is.
Super cool.
Oh, no.
It's a good metagame call, you know. If I was Abe, 0-2, back against the wall, and then this is the round.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is not
tough
easy.
way to go out
It
if
is
it goes
not
that
easy.
way.
But at the same time, I'd be thinking to myself, look, you came here to beat me. I respect it. You knew there'd be some Urza here. The bad news for Dom is that there was not as much Urza as he thought there would be, as Cinderglade is going to be the land. A couple of shots here. He'll say, I'll kill your 3/3 Elk Mox and deal 3 to you. Pass the turn back. And, you know, this deck choice looks obviously pretty strange, but if Dom is able to make it through to day number 2 of competition, then make it to day number 3 and get the right pairings, all of a sudden this looks genius.
Well,
right?
Yeah. I mean, that is the story of the Players' Championship.
That's the idea. This isn't your normal open or invitational, as we talked about during the pregame show. You get to do some kind of funky stuff in this tournament. Now he's going to tap a whole bunch of mana. Might be time for Escape Shift, perhaps. Bunch of reds and greens. Well, this is exactly what Dom Harvey wanted to play against, and not a. Look, that Abe's deck is capable of much more than what it did here.
Oh, his draw, it's
horrible.
Putrid.
There's Escape Shift. I think we're going to see a Spell Queller. Okay, sure. Secure a Tri-Belter, kill that, kill you. Get your spell, get your Escape Shift back, and that is going to do it. So, Dominic Harvey is going to very easily win game number 1 here over Abe Corrigan. Titan Shift up a game right now over Bant Urza. And again, remember, whoever wins this match is going to be still alive to make it to day number 2 of competition. Loser is most likely headed home. Certainly the case for Abe Corrigan. It's a tough road to hoe here for Abe because he is in arguably his worst matchup, and things have just not broken right for our Season 1 point champion. That is for sure. We'll be taking a look at the sideboards here in just a minute. So we will see. It looks like we're going to pause our match here briefly, take care of some technical difficulties. So we'll be right back. We're back. Short break. Technical difficulties solved.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, that was nice of you. It's a smooth intro back. Dom Harvey up a game over Abe Corrigan. Titan Shift, Bant Urza. This is the matchup that Dom Harvey wanted. He got it, and now you see Abe Corrigan sideboard. I can't imagine he has much for this matchup. You see Damping Spheres, Path Exiles, Ashiok, Dream Renders. Those are okay, I guess. Pith Needle, Veil of Summer, Teferi. Not so much, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just the Ashiok's. Creature removal's really shaky in this matchup. By the time Primeval Titan enters the battlefield, even giving them a land is often a big cost, and it doesn't really solve the problem. The rest of the stuff for other matchups, in spite of Titan Shift being a big mana deck, Damping Sphere does next to nothing here. It's really just Ashiok that Corrigan would want.
For Dom Harvey, he's got 4 Lightning Bolts, 3 Anger of the Gods. That's for those aggro matchups that he was hoping to not play against. 3 Damping Spheres. I think that he was maybe gunning for Mr. Dilks with that one. 2 Relic Progenitus, a Field of the Dead, a Choke, and a Veil of Summer. He's already got Veil of Summers in his main deck. So, honestly, he's kind of pre-sideboarded.
Yeah, I think Choke is okay here.
Sure.
But he is basically pre-boarded. If you wanted to cut something for the sake of cutting it, Relic of Progenitus is not useless against Urza strategies, but Dom did most of his work in the main deck, and as such, the sideboard is pretty light.
Well, those are your options there for both players. You can see Abe Corrigan not feeling great about the matchup. Dom Harvey very quickly up a game as the matchup is, at least it appears to be quite good for him. So you wonder if Corrigan can find a configuration that's going to work for him in these second and potentially third games. Abe with such a good year on the SCG Tour, Grand Prix champion as well. He's got to see if he can figure out a way to overcome a deck that is gunning directly for him in the hands of Dominic Harvey. While these players do shuffle up and get ready, you see Abe's going to maybe go back to the drawing board just a little bit here. We do want to talk very quickly about the StarCityGames.com newsletter. It's your source for Magic the Gathering news, where we've got highlights of some of our very best articles, upcoming SCG Tour dates and locations for 2020, the new decade coming in just a couple of days here. IQs and game nights near you, and best of all, it's totally free to sign up for. You can head over to go.starcitygames.com/newsletter for more information. Let's get back to that match. These players are taking a look at their opening hands. It looks like Corrigan has already sent his back. He is not happy with what he has found. But for Dominic Harvey, it's been a heck of a year so far. As we mentioned, already got those open wins. It's kind of an insane rookie year for Harvey, who actually at the beginning of the year had no intentions of trying to qualify for the Players' Championship.
Seemed daunting. It's a lot of time, a lot of travel, especially with Harvey living in Canada. But, if you just start winning half the opens you play in,
yeah,
then it makes sense to go to a lot of opens, and you just end up at the Players' Championship.
Yeah, Corrigan's going to send it back once again to not find the combination of cards that he was looking for. But Harvey starting off this year with the second place finish into a win. He said, I guess I'm kind of priced into doing this now. And so he decided to go for it. And it was up and down year for Dom. With the open wins, we also saw some tough finishes too. And he was pretty active and public on social media about kind of the ups and downs of the year. But at the end of the year, he did make it. He did qualify, and he might be making it into day number 2 of competition with this very risky selection in Modern.
Corrigan now looking at be keeping 5 out of the 7. You can see it on Corrigan's face right now too. Down a game, back against the wall, going to 5 cards, matchup's bad. And how do you stay afloat from here?
Yeah.
A loss here and 0-3 in the pod, and that is the end of the tournament.
And looks like he may have just sent that one back too. So it looks like he's going to be down to 4 cards now. Sometimes you just run into that unbeatable matchup, right? Or that unwinnable one, I guess I should say.
Well, the draw didn't cooperate too. I mean, his opening there in game number 1 there, turn 2, just 2 lands and a Mox in play. Didn't even have a rebuke to respond to Harvey's acceleration. Turn 3 Oko. That's not getting it done here.
No, it's really, really not.
And now he'll be trying to make something happen on 4 cards.
And as you mentioned, he's going to try to make something happen on 4 cards. He's found some cards to put away. So we will begin game number 2. He'll start things off with a Snow-Covered Island, Arkham's Astrolabe, and he may have a Bauble or Mox to play, and he will play a Bauble and simply pass the turn back. So over to Harvey we're going to go. Harvey will play a Stomping Grounds, enters the battlefield, taps. We'll head back over to Corrigan. That is an Emery. Well, that's not a bad mulligan. Find a Mox.
The Bauble and a Mox, that's the ability to build up something.
Yeah?
Some mana, some cards.
You can't imagine Harvey sideboarded in something like a Lightning Bolt in this matchup. He doesn't really need to. Take a look with the Bauble.
Yeah, if Harvey wanted to side in Lightning Bolt in this matchup, he'd be playing in main.
That's kind of how I feel, yeah. Here's your Farseek.
The construction of this deck is specifically for this deck, the Ban Urza deck, or Urza decks in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be shocked if Harvey had Lightning Bolt in the deck.
Sheltered Thicket is the land that the Farseek will find. Bauble trigger, draw a card. Draw a card for the turn. So let's see what kind of work Emery can get done here. This is a Gilded Goose. That's going to bring a food along with it. Emery will target the Mox, play the Mox. There's a Bauble, pass the turn back. Not the worst turn in the world, and now Corrigan does have access to Metallic Rebuke.
Also, 3 mana next turn, a land off the top, and maybe Urza can resolve.
Mm-hmm. Here's Secure Tribelder. That'll resolve. Valak gets the land for the turn. We're going to be going back over to Corrigan here in just a moment, I'm sure. See if he wants to fire off the Bauble or not. And if he does, who does he want to target? It looks like he doesn't want to.
Well, it doesn't keep you off Metalcraft, and if you gotta give yourself either a shot at Urza or a shot at the 4th mana, whichever piece you're missing.
Mm-hmm. So, there's a draw from the Bauble. There's the draw for the turn. Three artifacts on the battlefield, as you did mention. Metalcraft is still very much online. Emery is going to put Bauble back on the battlefield. There's a Hallowed Fountain untapped. 1, 2, sack the food. Urza.
Got a shot. You can't ask for much more than this on 4 cards.
There's your construct token. How big is that construct? 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at a 4/4 right now, but can obviously be larger next turn. So we head back over to Dom Harvey, who has not sacrificed the Secure Tribelder yet. Looks like he may have interest in using that as a blocker.
Or some way to search up with, get to the mana with Valakut.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Secure, you can sack for the Lightning Bolt effect.
It's Hour of Promise.
I mean, if you got a counter spell, you got to counter
this one, yeah. And Rebuke of the metallic variety can be cast thanks to Urza. So this is counterable. And I'm with you. If you got a counterspell.
There's just no way you can play a long game through this.
No, I don't think so.
Even if it's not lethal right now.
I think it's good to always weigh your options, consider things, but there is a Metallic Rebuke. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. We're going to head back over to Abe Corrigan. Do keep in mind that Urza's on the battlefield, so you could spin Urza if you want to. Maybe go that route.
Yeah, I mean, Corrigan's position is really strong right now. It's got a lot of mana, a lot of resources to work with.
I'll tell you what, the body language has changed.
Yep.
Corrigan's up in his seat a little bit here. You might be thinking he can actually do this thing.
Yeah, he looked... I mean, you know, once you're actually in the match, it's different, but during those mulligans, he looked very frustrated, a little checked out, and yeah, he's up in his seat now. He knows he doesn't necessarily win this one, but he's got a real shot at it.
That's really all you can ask for, is just a real shot. You know, if he's drawn a copy of Cryptic Command or something like that, you know, he has even more of a shot at it. So it looks like he's going to start tapping some mana in his own main phase, perhaps. Post-combat, he's got a little bit of action here. A little unsure. Harvey had a cool 19, so he's sitting pretty as far as life is concerned. He's got a lot of it to work with. Alright, there'll be a bobble trigger. So Corrigan will take a look at the top card there for Harvey. There's Oko. Make a food. Pass a turn back. Don't know if there's another counterspell in hand or not. We're going back over to Dom now, who does have 5 mountains plus a Valakut. So he's kind of in the sweet spot. He did board in Lightning Bolt.
Interesting.
Wow, I'm a little surprised by that. Maybe he thinks the texture of the matchup changes a little bit after sideboard that he brings that card in. The construct is a 5/5. That's a Cinderglade. Trigger. Gonna shoot Emery. Emery's headed to the graveyard. Harvey's thinking Lightning Bolt in some capacity here. Decisions. Perhaps for our Titan Shift player.
I think Harvey sent the turn back.
Yeah. Makes you wonder. What's the texture of his hand? He clearly needed that Hour of Promise to resolve. Alright, Abe's going to fire off a bobble. So, Karn's going to go down to 4. Draw a card for the turn, draw a card from the bobble.
Interesting that Corrigan elected not to activate the Gilded Goose there at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
He had a food plus a Howl Fountain left over. He's no green. That's the issue. Did not have green mana.
Oh, yeah.
I've just never seen that come up.
Yeah, it's rare.
Yeah.
It's rare. Bobble. Karn and Urza are going to come in. Nope. Just kidding. Oko's going to grow something. What do we turn into an elk if we want to turn anything to an elk? The goose may be of interest. You do that, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can make it a 2-turn game. Or at least try to. You got to shorten it as best you can when you're on a mulligan to 4.
Well, I don't know. At this point, it's interesting to be on 4 cards and be tapping out every single turn and look like you have all the resources in the world to work with here. So Corrigan might be able to play longer if he wants to, but Harvey's got so many cards that just straight end the game if they show up that you'd rather play a shorter one.
Sure. What's this? Got a copy of Explore. Okay. All right. Field of the Dead. Well, it looks like we got 7 different land types out there. Cinderglade, Shelter Thicket, Valakut, Mountain, Snow-Covered Mountain. Wow, couple copies filled. That's very tricky there from Dominic Harvey.
I mean, this is now a pretty difficult spot for Corrigan, I think.
It's getting harder.
Because if remember, he doesn't have an infinite combo. He has no way to just end the game on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
He's still ultimately playing to the battlefield. Everything that he plays to the battlefield of substance is a non-flying creature.
Mm-hmm.
None of his creatures don't have trample either. And I don't know how you're supposed to slog through the Field of the Dead if Harvey can keep triggering it with his land drops.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that makes it really difficult. And given the deck that Harvey is playing, you have to imagine it's not going to be that tough. So, Gilded Goose is going to make a food token. Looks like 4 artifacts on the battlefield, so that's how big the construct is. And now a breeding pool will join the fray. So Harvey's Fields of the Dead have shown up, along with many a different land type. And Valakut is still online. He killed an Emery with it earlier. Hasn't done much else with the Molten Pinnacle.
And Harvey's deck is basically just lands and things that put lands onto the battlefield. So if you're in Corrigan's position, you can't even really hope that there's a way Harvey's hand could be composed, that the fields aren't problematic.
Drop and Bobble, draw for the turn, it looks like. Remember, Harvey does have that Lightning Bolt in hand. A card that I would be a little bit surprised that Abe Corrigan played around if he did.
There's no play, no real playing around Lightning Bolt at this point when Valakut's online.
Sure, sure.
Well, if he didn't have it, he would have a mountain.
Yeah, sure. Corrigan is analyzing.
I mean, I guess in broad terms, the line here is set up a battlefield large enough that if you draw a cryptic command, you can cryptic Harvey's team and attack for lethal.
And kill that way.
I don't think there's really a realistic way to proceed keeping up on the battlefield just playing regular cards. I think you have to assemble a punk out kill here of a big battlefield and cryptic command.
Okay.
And if that's the case, then it's really troubling to try to make incremental attacks along the way, because if you allow Harvey to trade at all, you really take the wind out of your own sails. Even if you get through some damage, you might leave yourself with a battlefield that's short, even if you draw a cryptic command.
Oko's going to make a food token. Construct token's a 5/5 right now. Delta's the land for the turn. Construct is coming on in. Flying solo. Will it be a chump block or a triple block?
Yep. On the table here, Corrigan can activate the Gilded Goose and get to his 6th artifact. But if that's all that's going on here, then a triple block here does the trick. And Harvey has the insurance of the Lightning Bolt, should Corrigan have some weird removal spell to play here.
Sure. Well, there's the blocks. Triple block makes a lot of sense to me. Gilded Goose is going to make a food. Okay. So, the Construct's going to trade with the 3 zombies. Fair enough. Pass the turn back. We'll go back over to Harvey.
Yeah, that's a win for Dom. Corrigan now, this is what I was concerned about making the incremental attacks, is now you don't even have the hope of cryptic and I have a battlefield that's big enough.
Yeah, peeling off cryptic and just getting the W that way. Yeah, that's kind of
a low probability line, but the problem is that it's so hard to go wide in this spot because Field of the Dead and Valakut are so good at mowing down small things. You really need to go tall. Corrigan's best way of going tall is the construct token. He doesn't have that anymore. So, how are you going to get close again after trading off?
That's a good question. As Harvey's going to take a look at Corrigan's graveyard now very quickly. Looks like he's found what he's looking for. And now 2 more zombie tokens, thanks to the Valakut being the land. Let's see what this is. Search for tomorrow. Well, Corrigan's moving pretty quick here. Looks like he wants to respond to Search for tomorrow.
Well, at this point, he cannot allow mountains to enter the battlefield.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's got to pick some fights.
Spellqueller's going to eat that. That Lightning Bolt's going to be good now. I guess it does make some sense why he boarded in Lightning Bolt. Kill Spellqueller.
There's no end of targets in Corrigan's list. That's not the critique. It's just so powerful at, just in general, just as a Magic card in some of your worst matchups, that removing it from the deck, the level 1 reason to assume that is because you're just metagaming for Urza and you don't want Lightning Bolt there.
Sure.
Maybe Spellqueller is just the tipping point. A lot of lists don't have it, but once they have Spellqueller, that plus Gilded Goose plus Emery is just enough target. But that sort of construction isn't ubiquitous among all builds of Urza.
Yeah, this is true. So we continue to mosey along. We're heading back over to Abe Corrigan, who, again, remember, this game, he mulled to 4. So let's see if he can find a way to come all the way back from mulligan to 4. Looks like he may have another copy of Spellqueller in hand right now. He's got some serious work to do, folks. But if anybody can do it, he has demonstrated a real prowess with this type of strategy.
Got to get in your chip shots while you can. Got to try to, again, get to a point where Crit to Command gives you a hope of stealing the game.
Bolt. Yeah, he's going to get quellered again, isn't he? He sure is. Maybe not. Maybe so.
Alright, well, now all I gotta do is just fade a bunch of mountains.
Ashiok's going to come down. Ashiok Dreamrender, a very powerful card that we can happily take a look at. And does minus to mill. Can't search. It's a real pain in the butt.
Yeah, Corrigan's best sideboard card for this matchup by a mile. It means that Harvey actually needs to draw mountains from here because his Farseeks and Search for Tomorrows do not work. I think Corrigan is now out of cards, however.
I think we're going to spin the Urza wheel. There you see Ashiok. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controller to search their library. So you said it. One of the best cards in the matchup. Maybe another reason he brought in Lightning Bolt. Who knows? Bobble from the Urza activation. Back to Harvey. With what's going on the other side of the battlefield for Abe Corrigan, I'm hard-pressed to think that Field of the Dead is going to be able to do it by itself.
No, but the mountains that are in Harvey's hand are really big trouble. You know, you got to hope at the spot that Harvey just has search spells. Even Primeval Titan's not that bad for you.
Yep.
But if you can make land drops, then you know, the house of cards starts collapsing here in short order.
And now, where is Harvey supposed to fire off the 2 Valakut triggers? Because he does have a mountain in his hand, and you can certainly make an argument for taking care of a spell queller or so.
Well, the problem, the Corrigan made a heads-up play last turn by turning the spell queller with lightning bolt under it into an elk.
Mm-hmm.
So if Harvey kills it, he doesn't get anything for his trouble.
True.
And killing the other spell queller does nothing as long as Ashiok's on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead and use 2 Valakut triggers to take care of Ashiok, but you're a little bit behind the curve. I suppose killing Ashiok and having 2 blockers is not that bad. Corrigan untaps and attacks you a little bit in the air, but you can live with that.
Well, triggers. Gotta kill Ashiok. Gotta turn on more of your deck to be able to search for stuff. So Ashiok down, 2 more zombies from Field of the Dead. And just pass the turn back. So, one of the things about Titan Shift is that it's a deck that doesn't have a lot of decisions to it.
And now we're back into maybe Cryptic Command can seal it for you territory, too. Corrigan doing an admirable job here of battling back after some really rough circumstances to start off the match.
Well, it appears he never really gave up. Obviously very, very frustrated with his opening hand and his mulligan issues, already down a game, as there's a Witching Well. Gonna cast that. There'll be a little bit of scry action here. But he kept on battling, which wouldn't surprise you for someone who's had so much success on the SD Tour and won his first Grand Prix this year. Kid can play some Magic. And he's looking to climb all the way back here and tie things up against what is a horrible matchup.
Right. All of this, and it still just only gets you to a game number 3.
Mm-hmm. Be quite the story, though. Maybe it's time to draw some cards with the Witching Well. All these artifacts that Urza is providing. Yes, we'll draw. There's Cryptic. Can he cast Cryptic?
So you can make a food with Oko, and that gets you, and then you just need 1 artifact from somewhere else. With the Mox and the Astral Blade left over.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to tap the Elk, then I don't know you don't have lethal at that point. You need basically all of his eligible creatures get him to 9 points. So you need it all.
So you tap the I mean, what he needs right now is a land, right? Because he's got 2 artifacts, the Goose that can sacrifice a food, and then if he plays a land, he Cryptics, deals 3, 6, 7, 8. He can deal 9 that way.
Oh no, you already have it, right? You just make a food with Oko, tap your 3 artifacts,
and the Goose, sure,
and the Goose,
sure, okay.
Yeah, I forgot about Goose being able to eat a tapped food.
Sure. But is there any reason to get that aggressive? It looks like the answer is no. So here comes just Spell Queller in for 2. Gilded Goose, make a food. Now there's Ashiok again, so looks like he's just trying to put a stranglehold on this game. I'm sure he didn't know those Ashioks were going to be this good. How could he?
Are the shields down on Cryptic Command, though?
Well, the battlefield's a mess, so we have to take a better look at it. 3/3 Elk there. Primeval Titan to draw. And I mean, the battlefield is a mess.
I mean, if your shield's down on Cryptic here, a land drop takes care of Ashiok, and then the Primeval Titan might just could totally blow your doors off.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 more zombies in just a passing of the turn. I'm thinking Cryptic's going to kill him, and it is going to kill him. So Abe Corrigan's going to win game number 2 on a mulligan to 4 against Dominic Harvey. Bant, Urza, and Titan Shift are getting ready for a 3rd and final game. Hell of a comeback right there.
Yeah, that was impressive. And it wasn't like Harvey's draw was weak either.
I thought Harvey's draw was totally fine.
But Corrigan got one of those explosive starts that you can get with Urza. Really quickly was able to recoup from the mulligan to 4, drawing a bunch of cards with Bobble alongside Emery to just build up the resources, fended off a couple of Harvey's key cards, and was able to win with the beatdowns.
And you can see that was a tough one there for Abe. No doubt about it. Just some up and downs emotionally about that game, I think. About my tournament might just end here to this deck with me mulliganing to 4, which is not the way I want my tournament to end. But I don't really have a say in the matter. But he took the necessary number of mulligans, found a functional hand. This deck is very, very explosive. It's Bant Urza. And now we are all tied up. So very impressive stuff. Again, remember, Abe loses this match, he's out of the tournament. He's had a very, very tough tournament. But one of the things about the PC is if you are in the tournament, you can win the tournament. And he's still in the tournament.
Yep. Stay of execution. One more shot at it. Keep this tournament alive.
Heck of a comeback there. And now these players, I don't think they're going to change all that much. You see Corrigan's already shuffling, getting ready here for game number 3. Harvey's going to take a look at things. Maybe he's not happy with this configuration. We'll have to see here in just a moment. But while those players are working on that, we certainly do want to talk about the Star City Games holiday sale, Patrick.
Talk to me.
Where you can save just so much over the holidays. Ring-a-ding-ding, little Christmas cheer.
Let's bring up that slide, shall we?
Do you like the holidays?
I like Thanksgiving a lot.
Is that your favorite holiday?
I think so.
What's so great about it? Just the food?
And
holiday soul side.
just the spirit of it. It's not as consumerist as some of the other holidays. It's just hang out with your family, eat some food.
You don't like Black Friday, though. I know it.
No.
There's no way. Yeah, I knew it.
15% off all online orders, asterisks. Not all online orders.
Oh, stop.
So make sure to be checking before you click submit on that order. But plenty of good deals on the website right now. You use promo code SCG15 at checkout to save 50% off of all online orders. Asterisk fine print at the bottom, StarCityGames.com.
Yeah. It's a good ad read by you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I know.
Phyrexian Metamorph. Save big on those.
Yep.
I like that.
Time Warp.
I don't like that card. Have cast it a decent amount. Game 3 about to be underway.
Oh, yeah, I know. A couple years ago, back in the lab with the Dictative Crew Fix, Infinite Turns.
Don't remind me of that. Taking turns? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lost a lot.
We took we
lost a lot of tickets with
a lot
that
of L's.
Yeah.
A lot of L's.
I just didn't really resonate with me how to kill him. Also, like, most people don't even play Howling Mine anymore.
Also, it was like, what was the deck bad against? Any discard spell, any counter spell, any clock.
Dead to all of it.
And every opponent had at least one of those.
Just dead to all of it. We're not doing time shift with these rounds. We're underway. Search for tomorrow. It's a snow-covered island. And there's an Arkham's Astrolabe. Alright, search down to 1. There's a Wooded Foothills. See if Dom has a ramp spell here.
Corrigan with the possibility of the real nut draw on the draw here in this spot. Next turn, Mox, Ashiok, plus land.
Make a lot of sense to keep that.
You ding that search for tomorrow?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That'd be a beatdown. If that happens, that would be the biggest beatdown. Goodness. Don't even make me think about that. Game just ends immediately.
Yeah, I've had a lot of Teferi Time Ravelers line up against Riftbolt in a way that's not good. So I have a sensitivity there.
Astrolabe. I think we're probably clear for takeoff on the search now, given how the turn started. Hallowed Fountain untapped. No, well, he does have a green source because of the Astrolabe in the Snowland, so I take that back. There's Emery. Alright. Misty, Goose, Urza. Astrolabe. Down we go. Search is resolving. In the upkeep. So Dom's going to have at least 4 mana to work with, probably 5. And if he's got Hour of Promise this turn, it's going to be a lot of trouble there for Abe Corrigan.
Yeah, and the shields are completely down. Corrigan is not threatening Metallic Rebuke off of the resources he has, so Harvey has one clean shot at a big spell this turn.
Well, what can you do with that window being so wide open? That's the question. Save Abe Corrigan waiting patiently, hoping to get the turn back. Pass it back. Harvey with nothing. Wow.
Huge sigh there from Corrigan. He knew. I mean, you could see the look on his face that last turn. Shields were completely down. Could have been effectively the end of the tournament. But Harvey, nothing of note on his turn.
I mean, this is notable, too, because Harvey could at least Lightning Bolt Emery and stop that. And he doesn't even have that, it looks like. It's rather unexpected. Okay. All right. Mox.
Bunch of stuff.
We're going back over to Harvey. Oh boy. That's not even a Titan.
Harvey might be trying to set up Titan plus Veil in one turn. Maybe take this turn off to set up 7 mana.
That's true. Pass it back. You do make a good point there. 4 Astrolabes on the battlefield. First time I've seen that one. Alright. Gonna sacrifice him. Flooded Strand. Let's see, this is probably Urza, if I had to guess. Yeah, this is bad news here for Dom Harvey now. Because Urza's got a lot of fuel to work with. All those artifacts and an artifact coming with the construct. Not to mention the construct is large and kill the opponent very quickly.
So now Corrigan, all the mana in the world to work with. Large side on the battlefield. Still not clear that that's good enough to beat Harvey having Titan plus Veil of Summer if he's got it set up. But Harvey has had some uninspiring last 2 turns here where there were good windows to resolve something big. Wasn't able to do very much. And his hand would have to be really rolled up here to be able to push this through.
Well, it's kind of like this, right? You better have Veil right now.
And that sure seems like someone with a Veil if he's cracking here.
Cinderglade, Trigger, going to shoot Emery. So that's mount number 6. And I'm with you, partner. It does seem like Veil. Now, there's no guarantee this resolves, because Spellqueller could come down. That's exactly what I think we're going to see here. Is you're going to see a sacrifice of that land. Ooh, going to get Mystic Sanctuary. There are islands on the battlefield here, too. Maybe get back Metallic Rebuke. Yeah. And now, looks like we're going to get another Metallic Rebuke to take care of that. So, Primeval Titan gone. This might be a runaway here for Corrigan now.
Yeah, I mean, he's very much advantaged here. Harvey, of course, still drawing to a ton of threatening cards, maybe even game winners, depending on Corrigan's hand. You know, he might not be able to win a battle over something like Scape Shift from this spot, but Corrigan's position's very, very strong.
I do not believe we should show the time shift match if it's more than like 10 minutes. We can just update the pause and let them know because we haven't actually had this part on camera very much anymore. No, it's going to take too long. Yeah, I mean, we just can't be holding players till like midnight. It's kind of moving along. It's an Urza to make another construct. I actually think Abe Corrigan's going to do this thing. And I actually really can't believe it. Wow, there's
Wow, that's a big one there. That, oh, excuse me, I thought that was an Ashiok. Oko is...
I mean, Oko's still good.
Yeah, Oko's not bad. Ashiok might be the check mark.
Yeah. Going to count to see how much damage this is. I mean, it's a lot.
It's lethal next turn.
Yeah. And we know that Corrigan has a copy of Metallic Rebuke. That's it. Abe Corrigan's going to stay alive. He's going to win this match over Dominic Harvey. 2-1. Banter is going to take care of Titan Shift. And for what was the matchup that Dom Harvey wanted to play against, he got